This video, we're going to look at updating data in our tables. I want to do a quick review. We've talked about CRUD analysis in the back. That's when we're doing our planning. And we look at all the things that a client might tell us about the things their database needs to do. And we analyze the things they tell us for things that we need to create, things that they need to read, things that they need to update, and things they need to delete. We've done create. We've created data when we did insert statements. We've done a lot of reading when we did select statements. We spent basically the first half of this course talking about select statements and all the different ways to get data out of our database. Now we're going to talk briefly about how to update data that's already in our tables. And then we'll talk about how to delete data in the next video. So let's start with what we're going to update. So let's look at one of our tables that we're going to use. I'm going to select everything from the person.address table. Okay. And I have it up over here. We can see the names of our columns over here if we want to look at it. So this is where all the people in our database, all their addresses are stored. And they have an address ID, which of course is linked to the person business entity ID. Okay. So let's look. We're going to have, let's do a change of address. Somebody's going to have a change of address. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a grave mistake just to illustrate something that can go wrong when you're inserting data or when you're updating data. So look over here at the modified dates. I'm going to use this column because this column really doesn't affect too much in our database right now. So if I mess this column up completely, it's not going to matter. And you can see all those dates in the early 2000s, probably around the time or shortly after some of you were born for a lot of them. Okay. So when this line was inserted, it automatically added the date that it was modified. So let's pretend we want to update the modified date. So I am going to update person.address. Okay. And I am going to set, okay, so the command is update, and you have to tell it the table you want to update. And now we have to tell it what values we want to set. So I'm going to set modified date to today, which is 2021-01-03. So tomorrow is back to school for us. And I'm making videos on my last night of vacation. Okay. So what happens when I run this? Set modified date to 2021, January 3rd. Now let me run this command. Uh-oh. I just changed 19,614 rows. If I redo my select statement, look over here. Every single person has had their modified date changed. Okay. What if I was trying to do this to somebody's address and I accidentally changed the address for everybody in our database, 19,000 people? Okay. So what I'm trying to get at here is you have to be careful when you do these updates, because updates need a where clause. We want to use a where clause. So this time, let's actually change somebody's address, and I'm going to be careful, and I'm going to use a where clause. So I'm going to set let's do address line 1. That's where most people's street address is, and they all live in Bothell, which is in Washington State. Address line 1 equals, I'm going to set the address to 1227 Shoe Street. Where address line 1 equals 1226 Shoe Street. So somebody accidentally put the wrong address in for this person. 1226 Shoe Street, and it should be 1227 Shoe Street, and we're going to change it. But I want to point something out here. Let's copy this line. Select star from person.address where address line 1 equals 1226 Shoe Street. So I'm going to run this select statement with this line first. Okay. I don't see anybody with that address. All right, I see what my problem was. It was Shoe Street with a dot. So that's important to know. ST dot. Okay. So let's do this select clause. So I have one person who has that address. So when I run this statement up here to update that address, it's going to update for the one person that has this. Now, if we had two people that had 1226 Shoe Street for their address, it would update both of them. Okay, so that's important to know. So just like when we left the where clause out, okay, if I ran this without the where clause, it would update everybody in our database to 1227 Shoe Street. We don't want that. Okay, so what's a good way to test to see what data we're actually going to change? A good way to test it is to do a select statement using the where clause that we're going to use in our update statement. So remember, I had a mistake here because I typed out the word street and I realized I wasn't going to change any data in my database. So now I figured out what I was doing wrong. Here's my correct where clause. It's only going to affect this person. So now when I run this command up here, whoever this person is at address ID 5, it's going to change their address to 1227 Shoe Street, and street's going to be spelled out because that's how I did it. One row affected. And address number 5 right here is 1227 Shoe Street now. So the where clause is very important in the update statement. So test before you do something that could change the wrong data. Test it with the select statement first and then do the update. Update the table, set, and then use a where condition that gets the data that you want. Okay. A safer way to do this to make sure that it was only one person is I could have set it using their address ID, right? Because we know that's a unique column. Nobody else can have address ID 5. We could have 3 or 4 people that live at this address if maybe it was an apartment building or something. All right, so we verified the change was made by doing our select statement. Let's do a mass update where we update more than one thing at a time. So I am going to, let's do this first. Let's do a select statement to look at the data we want to change. Select everything. We're going to get this from sales.salesperson. So here's our sales.salesperson table. Okay. And I'm interested in changing something for all the people in territory 1. So let me add a where clause. Territory ID equal to 1. Let's execute that. So there, that gets me the 3 people that are in territory 1. So I know that's a good where clause for the 3 people that I want to update. So let's do our update statement now. We're going to update sales.salesperson. We're going to set bonus. These people did well, so we're gonna give them a bonus. Right now, this person's got a $5,000 bonus. This one's $3,500, and that one's $3,900. So we're gonna set their bonus, everybody, equal to 6,000. And I can do more than one column at a time. I'm also going to change their commission percentage so that they all get a 10% commission. And I'm going to take away their sales quota. So they had a sales quota before of those amounts. And I'm going to change it to null. Okay. So I'm going to change 3 columns for all the people in territory 1. So I'm going to use this where clause that I already tested because I know it will only change for these 3 people now. Okay. So update the table, set, and then separated by commas, the 3 different columns we're going to try and set for everybody who is in territory 1. So I'll highlight this and I'll execute it. 3 rows affected. That's good. That's what we wanted to see. And we look here now, they all have a $6,000 bonus. All their commission percentages are the same. And their sales quotas have been set to null. So they no longer have to meet a quota anymore. Let's run it on our whole table. I'll select. I'll highlight the whole table. And we can look down through here. Only the people in territory 1 were affected. Okay, everybody else's bonuses still appear to be the same. Their commissions appear to be the same. So we're good to go on that. So updates are pretty easy. You just have to make sure that the where clause you're using pulls out the people, or the rows, I should say, where we're dealing with people here, pulls out the rows that you actually want to affect. So always test your where clause in a select statement first before you run your update. And then when you're done, verify that your update changed the things that you meant to change.